Hello friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel Tech Server Global. Hope you guys doing well. So today we are going to learn about to set up kind cluster on EC2 instance. Kind stands for Kubernetes in Docker. Many of my friends and followers suggest to create one video on kind cluster. So this setup is basically create in a standalone EC2 instance. And this guide assume that you are using Ubuntu-based EC2 instance and have Linux and AWS knowledge. So basically, this setup help to manage development environment as well as testing environment. It is not something suitable for production. To set up this kind cluster, as a prerequisite, we need one EC2 instance, at least T2 medium for decent performance, SSH access, Docker install, and kubectl install. So let's start with the setup. So first we need to log in with the EC2 instance. At the end of the video, I will share this document in a description, so you will get access of same command line. So first need to update this system files, then need to install Docker, start the service, and then need to change the user. So let's start with apt update. So this is my machine. I already run apt update. Let me rerun just a bit. Then need to install Docker. It's basically Ubuntu 24. Let me enable and start the service. So whenever service server got rebooted or start or stop and start, then Docker service will be up and running. And change the user. Now going to set up and install kubectl. Kubectl someone says kubectl, someone says kubectl. Different ways to pronounce it. Kubectl is installed. Let me change the permission 755 kubectl and user to root. Release, need to validate release, and also now validating the SHA-256 some checksum, and it seems kubectl is okay. Let me change the permissions to executive mode. I'm also creating one local directory on the home directory. Currently I'm in root. I'm logging as a root user, so it will create some user under home directory dot local and binary, and it move kubectl with the local bin kubectl. Let me validate the version. So client version is 1.33 and customized version is 5.6. Okay. Now install kind. Okay. So first we already set up the kubectl. Now let me install kind. So kind is basically binary to set up the kind cluster with Docker. I mean the name of the actually use cases of kind is Kubernetes in Docker. So with the help of Docker engine, we set up the standalone machine. Let me change. I already changed the permission. Let me move to local client. Okay. Now there are two options. First is kind create cluster. So it will create local Kubernetes local using Docker containers and install single node control plane by default. So if you run simple this command, cluster will be created, and then you can test the cluster. Use custom configuration if you need more role like two worker and one control plane node. Then simple create one YAML file. Let me create this file and copy this. So this basically create a cluster. If you check the YAML file, kind is cluster. API version is kind x k8s.io. That means it will trying to identify, download the image from this official URL of Kubernetes v1 alpha v4, and nodes role will be one control plane node and two additional worker node will be deployed on the same machine. Okay, now let me run the command kind create cluster. It is same similar to the this one, the standalone. Only extension would be will define the config file kind create cluster hyphen hyphen config kind config.yaml. So it's trying to validate whether the image is available or not. Preparing nodes. It will take some time because we add two additional worker node. Now it's starting the control plane, the core part of the Kubernetes. Joining the worker node. So here you can see, if you bifurcate the whole process, it will first trying to validate, ensuring the node image, the kind is 1.33, then preparing nodes, writing configuration, starting control plane, installing CNI, installing storage class, joining the worker node. Okay, so this is something, the whole process. Now let me validate by validating such command. So here the command indicate that Kubernetes control plane is running at HTTPS 127.0.0.1 colon 452.19 and code DNS is running at 127.0.0.1 Okay, now kubectl get node, you will get three node. Kubectl run nginx and hyphen hyphen image nginx. Okay, kubectl get io. It's basically creating pod. Yes, pod is now up and running. So this way you can create a kind cluster on standalone environment. It is basically designed for testing environment and it's not something suitable for the production. Okay. Things to note, kind is designed for local development and CI, not for production. Your cluster will run inside the Docker container. if you can see Docker PS, you will find your nodes are running in within the Docker. Okay, so here you can see node, and this one is something called control plane node, and these are the worker node. Okay, if you rebooted the EC2 instance, you need to restart the Docker and possibility recreate the cluster, because we already defined Docker service in a startup mode. So whenever the system got rebooted or stop and start, then Docker service will be up and running. Okay, so you can, if somehow you will not getting that Docker service is not up and running, then you can simply start the Docker and simple you can rerun the or recreate the cluster. Okay, so simple. This is a small setup with kind cluster. Okay, hope you guys have enough idea about to set up the kind cluster. Thank you very much for watching this video. Have a great day. Thank you.